Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hsiao-Yuan, and my advisor is Professor Gongxin Yi. Now I am studying in the Graduate Institute of Education at National Changhua University of Education. Today I would like to make you a short presentation about my research. And my research is to investigate the association among high school students' experience of cyberbullying, moral disengagement, and psychological well-being. And here is my contents. I've divided my presentation into 6 parts. First of all, I'd like to talk about research background and the motivation. Secondly, I'll introduce Glossary of Terms. And thirdly is methodology. And then is expected results. Next is conclusion. And the last one is reference. Now I'm going to start with research background and motivation. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to an increase in adolescents using Internet, not just for personal use, but for education purposes as well. According to the Light, an organization that checks online harassment, there has been a 70% increase in cyberbullying. Also, the cyberbullying survey from Taiwan's Child Welfare League Foundation showed that 80% of teenagers think cyberbullying become a serious issue among teenagers, and 20% of teenagers has been victims of cyberbullying. Also, in Kim et al.'s research indicated the behavior of bullying is related to criminal behavior and other self-serving and reckless behaviors. Baudry and other authors also expressed that people who has been bullied online for a long time will suffer from serious psychological distress and social anxiety. Additionally, cyberbullying is not only affect bullies and victims, but affects bystanders. Witnesses to bullying are at a greater risk of alcohol and drug abuse. According to previous research and statistics, my focus will be on 3 categories of involvement in cyberbullying among high school students, and here I list 4 research motivations. The first one is the difference of 3 categories of cyberbullying's involvement in moral disengagement. And the second one is the difference of 3 categories of cyberbullying's involvement in psychological well-being. Next, I will also investigate the association of moral disengagement, psychological well-being. And the final one is whether the experience of cyberbullying and moral disengagement would predict psychological well-being. And the next one is Glossary of Terms. The first one is cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is an aggressive and intentional act carried out by a group or individual using electronic forms of contact repeatedly and over time against a victim who cannot easily defend him or herself. And the rule of cyberbullying. There are 3 kinds of rule. Bullying is a form of aggressive behavior in which someone intentionally and repeatedly causes another person injury or discomfort. Victim is a person who is tricked or bullied intentionally. Bystander is someone who witnesses bullying either in person or online. Moral disengagement refers to the process where an individual or group of people distances themselves from the normal or usual ethical standards of behavior and then become convinced that new unethical behavior are justified. Psychological well-being is defined as one's level of psychological happiness, encompassing life satisfaction and the feeling of accomplishment. And next, I'll introduce methodology. First of all, data source. I analyze data from the six subtopics of the second phase in the 2017 Taiwan Communication Survey. Taiwan Communication Survey (TCS) is a long-term project that surveys representative samples of people in Taiwan annually. Supported by the Ministry of Science and Technology in Taiwan, the TCS explores changes in Taiwanese media use. The project not only collects information about basic media use, but also designs new modules to investigate different communication research questions every year. And these research participants are 15 to 17 years old high school students from 23 schools in Taiwan. Then is research instrument. For cyberbullying experience skill, there are 9 cyberbullying conditions, and it is multiple choice. The respondents will tick depends on their experience. Once they tick any option of 9, that means they have experience of cyberbullying. Next one is moral disengagement skill. The skill is used Hsiao et al.'s moral disengagement skill in 2005. And select 8 of the questions and use 5-point Likert scale to allow the individual to express how much they agree or disagree with a particular statement. 1 represents strongly disagree, 2 is disagree, 3 is neither agree nor disagree, 4 is agree, 5 is strongly agree. Finally, I will add up the scores. Higher score they get, higher level of the moral disengagement they have. And the next one is psychological well-being skill. There are 4 questions about individual value, and it also uses 5-point Likert scale to evaluate. 1 is strongly disagree, 2 is disagree, 3 is neither agree nor disagree, 4 is agree, 5 is strongly agree. And also I will add up all the scores, and the higher score they get, higher level of psychological well-being they have. This page will introduce analytical methods, and this study utilized descriptive statistics, independent t-test, multiple regression analysis, and Pearson's product-moment correlation to analyze data from the 2017 Taiwan Communication Survey. Then its expected results. 1. High school students as cyberbullies and the cyber bystanders have higher levels of moral disengagement. 2. Cyberbullying, cyber victims, and the cyber bystanders among high school students have lower levels of psychological well-being. 3. The experience of being cyberbullies, cyber victims, and the cyber bystanders have a negative association between moral disengagement and the psychological well-being. 4. The experience of being cyberbullies, cyber victims, cyber bystanders, and moral disengagement would predict psychological well-being. Finally, conclusion. To sum up, I hope these findings provide evidence and suggestions for schools, teachers, students, parents, and future researchers. Furthermore, the findings in this study are also important in practical implications to decrease the cyberbullying phenomenon and the high school students' intention of moral disengagement, and finally to improve their psychological well-being. And the final part is reference. And here is my reference. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention and listening.